Welcome to our Bundle of the Month video. And this month we're using Nature's Symphony with both the stamps and the dies. And this month we are going to make this card. And the technique I'm featuring is showing you how to make a stencil out of your die cuts. So you will see here I used that large leaf die cut on a scrap piece of cardstock. You want something that is going to be pretty thick like cardstock or maybe even thicker to last longer. If you're just going to do one card, you may not need that much. And then I've cut myself my card base here, and I'm going to start over on this side here, maybe center it a little bit in the middle. I'm going to use my blending brush and my old olive ink. For me, this is Fern from Close to My Heart. Still collecting those inks. And because this has a lot of little loose pieces in it, I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to work my way down and be very light-handed, especially down here. One, it's going to be covered, and two, I don't want to tear any of these small pieces. Now I'm going to stamp off a little bit there just so I know how much ink I have on my blending brush. And like I said, I'm going to start at the top and just lightly work my way down through this stencil. If I want to continue with the darkness of it, can add a little more ink. Now this is where they start to get a little wiggly. And part of this is going to be covered by my die cuts and stamping. So I'm not going to worry too much about how that turns out down there, but I am just being cautious as I ink that. Now you can remove that and just see how you like it. I see I might want a little bit more right here, so I'm going to add a little bit more there. And there is my beginning step of my stencil. Now I wanted another piece to go up here towards the top. So I'm going to take the same stencil and I'm just going to focus on this top area up here and add my stencil. And you'll see it overlaps a little bit, but because this becomes almost a collage, you're not going to notice that on the inside or on the actual stamp. I kind of prepared this so I wouldn't have to pull in too many tools. You can see the difference here. This is how my card has changed color a little bit, maybe used a little bit darker of an ink here. And then I used this texture die and I filled in kind of these areas where I felt like there were holes. I'd probably do the same here to create a little extra texture with that texture die, which I find those so fun to use. Now I go about arranging my floral cluster how I'd like it to highlight. This is cut from the olive green cardstock, and this is cut from the Nature's Walk paper, and I love just that whole texture of the variegated color in there. And then I have stamped this die cut here. This is second generation pecan pie, and then cut it out with my die cut. So as I'm arranging this here, let's just go ahead and get some of this glued down. Now I like to use a little bit of foam tape to lift my dies or lift my elements up. So I've already put that on here. And by adding that on there, then you don't have to watch me peel off all those little pieces. And I'm gonna kind of lay this down. I'm looking at my other one. And you know, the beauty is each card is going to look a little bit different. Okay, now I'll layer this one here as well. And notice here and here they go a little bit over some of that texture that I put there. Now this piece is stamped, and when I laid the full thing down here, I felt like it was a little too much and kind of hid my other pieces. So I used my snips and I cut off these extra pieces and I cut it down, I'm just checking here, to a size that I liked that still felt like I could highlight those pieces in the middle. And don't throw away those other pieces because you might be able to use those as you are creating another card. So let's put that in there together like that. Now I'm going to add this whole piece to my card base. And that is right there. Now to highlight this, I wanted this sentiment from the stamp set, You Make Me Smile, and I chose to use the light side of this basic beige, so it pops a little. So I wanted that at the bottom. This is the stylish shape dies. I'll use a little foam tape. Here and here. And then I'm going to add a little bit here on the edge. And that will lift the full piece. And that will come across here. I'm going to come down a little lower, make sure it's straight. And then I've got my sentiment there. Now I turn this over and just trim this even with the edge of the card. And that is my sentiment. And then my final step here is to embellish. So I have created a double bow with our ribbon, and I'm going to add a glue dot here and then place that kind of at the bottom of this bouquet to the card. And finally, for embellishments, I have the faux bronze pentagons. These are hefty, so I'm surprised at how heavy they are. And then see how there's this little bit of a empty spot in each of those? I decided to just pick up these pentagons and kind of use those as my guide to placing the embellishments. And used my take a pick tool and added that. And now you can see these are kind of in a triangle and an odd number, so that is pleasing to your eye artistically. And now you have a simple card using your die cut as a stencil and doing some second generation stamping and adding your sentiment and a double bow. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy this video and the other Bundle of the Month videos.